Perfect. Thank you all for coming. My name is Chelsea O'Reilly. I'm the district manager here for Gateway Services. That's gonna be, you gonna close out of that? And before we get started, I'm gonna go ahead and we'll go around the room and introduce your team. All right, Randy.
Oh, hello everyone. My name is Randy Paniagua and I'm the contracts manager and public information officer for the district. Those lovely letters were written with me in mind and everyone else, so I'll let everyone else introduce themselves.
Bill Shaw, the utilities manager.
I'll say Rick Torvik, the utility building manager.
Austin Manoli, assistant utilities manager.
Nate Hopkins, Rohaley and Sons Plumbing will be the ones doing the actual installs of the new meter boxes. We'll be the ones shutting off your water.
I'm Brett Saunders. I'm the project manager for Rohaley Sons Plumbing. I'm the one out in the field watching everything going on.
So if there's a target, it's his back. No, I'm just kidding. So thank you all for coming. This is what we'll say is the kickoff to a much larger project for Gateway. I have only been here at the district for 2 years. Many of you have been here since the inception of Gateway, it seems like, so I'm sure you can give me some history on everything Gateway. But the district and the Board of Supervisors has directed staff to proceed with putting in a new meter, moving towards new water meters. Our current water meters have been in the ground for how many years? Almost 10 years. And welcome in. If you don't mind signing in, Angela, that would be great. Mr. Tinkle, come on in. Don't mind signing in for me. Mr. Tinkle is one of our Board of Supervisors. So I'm sure he lives in Gateway Green, so you might see some familiar faces here. So our board has directed us to proceed and look at replacing our meters throughout all of Gateway. Like you're supposed to, you learn from, the history and what you did in the past, and you grow from that. So one of the things that we're starting with is a meter box replacement. Does everybody know where their water meter box is on their property? It's a circle lid most of the time, cast iron. Very outdated. To be frank, we've had some issues with connectivity because of the cast iron, and that's part of we looked at possibly retrofitting and just getting new lids instead of the whole box, but we did cost benefit analysis, and truthfully moving to a new meter box was the way to go. So what you see in front of you are a single meter box and then a double meter box. Rohaley is our plumbing contractor that will be coming in first to replace these boxes. You are fortunate that you were selected for the pilot phase, so congratulations. And to be frank, there was a reasoning behind it. A lot of the communities that we've selected are older communities. They have aged landscaping. Truthfully, it's probably some of the most difficult communities with regards to that, with especially the oak trees. So we said, if we're going to do a pilot, let's look at this worst case scenario. So that's how we ended up with these 195 properties. The intent is for us to put out a request for proposals and to select 3 pilot meter companies to come in, and we're going to give them each how many? 90, 80, 100?
Plan on having install. Each contractor would be installing basically 65 bottled water meters and 35 reclaimed water meters, 5/8 by 3/4 size that you see up here. And then 1 3-inch meter, a potable water meter, and 1 6-inch meter, one else.
Yeah. So for full deployment, our entire system, we've got various sizes of meters. And if we're going to move to a new meter company, we want to assess how these meters are going to function with the 5/8 to all the way up to what, 6-inch we have? 10? 10-inch meters. So we've selected these properties. We're working on an RFP to solicit. Prior to that RFP coming out, we need to get these boxes in place. Most of these meter companies metering is their bread and butter. They create, they design, they build that meter. They're not necessarily a construction, deal with roots and take out a box and put in a new box. So we've separated that component of this meter replacement project. So Rohaley was awarded the contract for the pilot phase only. Because we have Florida statutes that we have to abide by with regards to putting out requests for proposals because of dollar thresholds. We will be soliciting for the full deployment of the boxes, but as of right now, the pilot phase, we're ready to rock and roll. We've got all of our components. We've got all of the boxes. Only thing we don't have is the new meter. So when Nate and his team come in, they're gonna come in, they're gonna We've assessed every single property. We've identified if it's easy, medium, difficult. And I'll let you go over the process of kind of what you envision the interaction with the homeowner be. But what you see out in your front yard right now will be replaced if you have a double meter. If anybody in Devonshire, you have a single meter box. So you'll be in this blue section. Everybody else will get this new double meter box. Now, one of the things, if we're investing a lot of money into these new boxes, can you all see what is here to the left? That is a root that was wrapped around the yoke. Is it called a yoke? I'm not good with the terminology. The setter over time. So this is what staff. Yeah. So this is what our staff are coming across when you call in and say, hey, we have a water pressure issue, or we don't have water. This is one example of what we've come across. And Ed, you've seen a lot of what we've brought in with pipes, and just the roots are entangled. Imagine 30 years worth of roots, trying to get to water. It's gonna be ugly. So part of this is putting in all new components. So what Nate and his team are going to do is they're going to come in, they're going to take out they're going to take out the old box, they're going to put in this new box, and they're going to put your existing meter back in place. Keep in mind, we have not bid out for that new meter, so we want to pick 3 companies to come in.
Is there a difference in the meter?
Yes.
We did this about 5 or 6 years ago and put the next one?
It's been longer than that.
Been longer than that.
Yeah.
It seems like that, but-
Yeah, you blink, time flies, right?
We're doing the same thing.
Yeah, so what we're doing is in that RFP, there are different types of meters. There's an automated metering infrastructure, AMI, there's automated meter radio, right, AMR. There's different types. So we've actually hired a consultant, professional consultant, to assist us in writing that RFP. And I don't know if she is on the line, but Arcadis is the one that's been helping us draft this RFP. We're open. We want to see what's out there. The point of the pilot is these meter companies, we want to see how their meter fits in our climate and all of the intricacies that we have. We've got an FPL transmission line cutting right through the middle of Gateway. We've got all of our HOAs have clickers, right? We've got into your community, especially if you're gated, your garage door clicker. We've got an airport right around the corner. So we want to put it to the test. So this pilot project will last, we're estimating about 9 months. But the first part is we need to get these new boxes in, because when that meter company, remember I said that's all they do is metering. We want them to be able to come in and just take one out and put theirs in. Just do a quick swap. So,
Box.
yep,
Yeah.
yep. So that's what Nate and his, for now, yes.
Well, no, the assembly is going to get changed, and then this portion right here is your meter. On your potable, but they'll just take this out and put it right in this new assembly that's in this box.
Everything will be new except your water meter for this bid.
Gonna reuse the current meter.
Yes, until we can get that bit out.
So basically 2 phases of the box.
Yeah. Yep, exactly. So I'm going to pause there. Does anybody have any questions about that?
Question from here. Where we are, our meter is right directly out neck on one side of the oak tree, and our neighbors is on the other. Has there been any thought given to moving the lines away from the trees?
Yes, yes, Otto. And like I said, the contractor and staff has inspected every single property. And if what you're saying, I'm guessing you're probably gonna be one of the hard properties that we identified. But yes, it is our intent to move it away from that oak tree, so we don't have this again.
Boxes that compass in an oak tree right now. We're gonna get it away from that.
Yeah.
Somehow, some way.
So we're not, we have most properties, we have a utility easement that goes beyond your property line into your property. We will be staying within our utility easement or within the right of way. Every single property is unique. Every community is different. Lennar built it out, WCI built it out over time, and everything changed over time.
So on our street, I would agree, there's a lot of oak trees that are taken down a little bit. I'm sure these guys are aware of what trees are, because they may come across roots.
Dead roots, yeah.
In our place, because our tree was like 5-6 feet away from the meters.
Mhm.
But it's been gone for years. The roots,
So the roots are probably.
I don't know if they start disintegrating after a certain amount of time. Or they-
Yeah, as long as the tree is dead, we can hack away what roots we need. You probably won't have to move the meter if the tree is
Yeah.
dead, because it's not gonna grow back.
Until they start digging and pulling up that, it's kind of hard to tell.
Yeah, every one's gonna be a little bit different. Some of these easy ones will anticipate taking maybe, the two easy ones might take an hour each. Some of the others will take half a day. Some of them will take all day to do one. Just because of the roots and the trees. And we're gonna do our best to keep the water on as long as humanly possible while we do our work. But at some point, we'll have to be shut off. Ideally, we don't have it off for longer than an hour, but it could take 8 hours of picking and axing and screaming to get things in place so that we can then shut it off, move it, get it back on.
1 second, let me get his question.
As soon as we put a shovel in the ground.
Don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We can pretty much know by looking. We do nothing but this kind of underground stuff for 35
A lot
years.
of the
You can
trees
kind of
that have
just
come
look.
down, there's still a hump
Yeah.
in the
Mhm.
grass where the stump didn't get pulled all the way out.
You had a question? I'm sorry.
I want to go back a little bit. I'm trying to understand what's, if we thought the program in the process, what motivated us to start the program, number one?
So our meters are pretty old and we're having issues with them reading, doing the AMI. How many, we do manual out of give us the percentage, out of 8,000?
8,007.
What are these gonna be better? I mean, do we know that?
That's part of the
That's what
pilot
we're doing.
process, but typically the,
Let's put it was a mistake.
So to that project that was done 9 years ago, didn't touch the box. All they did was
Well,
they,
no, I understand that part of it. My thought process was, why are we changing meters?
so
We don't know if it's gonna work or not. We hope it'll work.
that's exactly why with this pilot project.
Okay.
So
meter technology is like computers. Your technology is only going to have a lifespan about hopefully 15, 20 years. But technology changes, so they're.
think about technology, what it was 9, 10 years ago to what it is now. So
How does the current, I don't want, not like anything, how does the current media process work? I mean, how do you get my numbers off my meter? I have, you know, that's.
depends on if you're one of the 2,000 that we have to manually read or not.
Well, I'm one, yeah, I am, I know I am,
Yeah.
but I'm just fine, fine.
So
How do you get, I was curious, how do you get that one off?
so essentially,
They're gonna get it.
you want to
Wi-Fi thing?
show the punch out on the.
There's some are Wi-Fi, some are radio read. There's several different systems.
3,900 megahertz.
See this component here?
There's an
There's
antenna.
gonna be, there is an antenna out there currently, but there's going to be an antenna on this lid.
It'll just read.
It'll send transmit, yes, we have repeaters.
We have various pieces of equipment in different locations that collect from different areas and send it all back to a cloud.
Donnie, if you go to Gateway Greens and you look at our street lights, you will see a little box, little gray box. It's a repeat.
Yeah.
So it sends the signal from your unit to another unit to another unit, and it comes back to here.
So the cost justification for doing this project was saving us from reading the meters, obviously.
Yes,
I understand the box issue in the trees. When the builder built Gateway, he said, how many trees should we put in the water? I didn't know that far. So, you know, that, I think that was a fun thing to.
Yeah.
Offend homeowners.
Yeah.
Plant.
well, nobody thought that this little tree that when we plant right now is gonna be this big in 30 years.
They should have known that. That should have been thought. Yeah.
So,
No way.
where's Austin?
Developer.
Traffic reason?
I've been here 30 years now, and I've been Pine Drive. When I moved into my house, I had 5 kennels in my yard.
Yeah.
2 of them, one of them, right over between my house and my neighbor's house, literally a foot and a half away from my block.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, I took all them out over the
Yeah.
years. Because number one, they're.
But they never should have been put there in the first place.
They're terrible, you know,
That's-
That's
the past.
I think what everybody needs to realize is we have a problem.
Right.
And we need to correct it.
Yes,
And this is the steps we have to go through.
when you guys do this replacement, box replacement, and you see, let's call it Rube Goldberg connection between the homeowner side of the house and the PVC going into there may be a little L shape or something, or a little U shape. Are you gonna fix that or done correctly?
Not up at the house, I mean,
Well,
we-
look at-
but
that's
yeah,
a meter box.
anything that we see, that we dig up, when we reconnect, it's gonna be done properly. I mean, there's not,
So-
if we find like if there's a T there going off somewhere,
thank you.
then we may investigate and see is that going somewhere? And if not, get rid of it.
I'm
That's just
thinking
one
more
more
of a
place to put it.
problem because of the broken pipe, and,
Austin,
you know.
Yeah, everything is gonna be put back stronger than it was. Basically.
The one thing I think everybody needs to understand is that we're working within limits of what we have the legal right to be in. We have a easement. We have a right of way that we can take and put these facilities in. The problem is that right now, as we all know, Westinghouse and Gateway Westinghouse years ago, they had that little dicky oak tree that's now this oak
Yeah.
tree.
I don't,
So what ends up happening is we have to relocate where this box goes. The line coming off the main, both the main water line, your potable water and your irrigation water has to come into that box. But then we have to reconnect it to the line going to your house and going to your irrigation system. That's the problem.
yeah, and so this, and Bill and Leslie and Austin brought out the component. You want to explain it?
So this
Cool.
connects to meter device. The antenna, then this connects to the antenna piece in the lid, and then that's where the signal goes out. Yeah.
So one of the beautiful things about this box, it's traffic rated.
What you say?
It's traffic rated. So all those lawnmowers that your HOA hires to come mow your yard, or you mow your yard, it's traffic rated. So that's an improvement to this entire system. How many, all the time, right? With wonky.
Then the PVC breaks.
Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so you're taking the water from Maine, taking it, and putting it into that mechanism.
Yes.
All right. You're what, about a foot past the meter? And after that, that becomes a homeowner's issue, correct?
So,
Part of this project, the connection is going to be remade.
yes.
What part of that are, if you find that, let's say, a foot or 6 inches past that, it's corrupted with, roots and whatever from the tree? What happens then? Whose responsibility is that?
Once it's on the private property, it's the homeowner's responsibility, for us to
So if
come.
you pick it up and you
We'll do everything we absolutely have to do to get a good connection to that pipe going to your house. So you're getting water like you were.
Are you going to notify us?
Well, yeah, if something sends up a red flag, yeah, we'll let you know, but there's not, with what this project covers, it's not improving the private property. It's,
The chances.
So,
we're gonna have to cut it and
Yeah.
reconnect to it.
so typically the homeowner's responsibility is that where that pipe comes out. Yeah. So, but in order for us to do this, we're working within our utility easement, we're gonna reestablish the connection. But if there are issues beyond that, absolutely, we'll notify. We have to notify.
And then we want to make sure that if we. This is located in a position that when you connect, we're not sending you into an oak tree room.
Yeah.
That's the key. Whether it's a potable water or irrigation.
Like 100% of the trees are after that.
That's why this may have to move.
A lot of these boxes will be closer to the road.
Don't get in a position of thinking that where your meter is now is where it's going to be when we're done. Because we may find that those tree roots do not allow us to either make the connection into or out of that into your current deal. We may have to move this. That's the problem. And you people have been selected because you were in the areas of the older part of the community that WCI and all their infinite wisdom put these stupid oak trees right where your meter's located. They look pretty.
Yes.
Got a question. So in a community like Devonshire Lakes, that you've got potable waters and then there's a homeowner's responsibility. But then the non-potable, the irrigation water is.
It's a master. Yep.
Yeah.
So you're,
So what would happen, how that works? I imagine. You have to go to the homeowners association then, for the non-potable water?
We won't be touching the irrigation
until we do full deployment.
in Devonshire. In Devonshire, this will be replacing your existing potable meter and box. With this box.
The master, correct?
Okay, so the non-potable is not gonna be touched?
Not during this pilot, no.
Not during the pilot.
They have a master meter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Master meter.
Yeah.
Means the irrigation stuff won't be
Yeah.
touched in Devonshire, just
No.
the potable.
Okay.
And soup, potable.
Yes, ma'am.
For you people, this is more of a potable issue
Yeah.
as opposed to
Yeah.
a irrigation.
Yes, ma'am. I'm glad you said something. Okay, so what you see on the ground is some colorful tape. So the district operates through what we call utility rules. And that's kind of like our form of ordinance, right? Is our utility rules. And so we are working on updating those utility rules because I would hate to invest this much money into these new boxes and these new meters and have my grandmother come out, because I was raised by my grandparents, have my grandmother come out and plant bougainvillea all around all around the new meter box. So what we're working on is drafting with these rules is a 3-foot clearance of the meter box. So I've measured that out and taped it on the ground so you could see. So a 3-foot clearance. So no new landscape, no landscaping or anything within that 3 foot.
A question?
If you would like to keep it, 1 second, Otto, we'll get to you in just a second. So
Okay.
if you want to keep that landscaping that's there and transplant it, I strongly encourage you to move it now.
A lot, if it's overgrown, I mean, we have to excavate the area and have to have access to the box when we're done, so some things will be removed. And they just have to physically do it. Yes, I don't want to take more than I have to, but these are almost going to be a case by case basis between us and the district as we go.
But if
you really like your plan, like she said, really like what you've got, I would.
Grandmama Lucy's tree that is so important to you is planted right next to that meter box and you want to keep it, please transplant it right now.
Yes, yeah,
Yep.
everything.
We're-
yeah,
Stop, we're gonna stop.
just yes, most of the time, if you're in an area and it's just grass around your meter, that we can save that existing grass and put it right back down the same day. If not, then we'll bring in bits of sod to,
Yeah.
to sod. It's not.
Otto, I know you've been waiting online. Go ahead and ask your question.
Okay, will you be giving us advance notice before you come to work on our property? And if so, how much time in advance will you notify us?
What's today's meeting, Otto? Advance notice? No. Yes, Nate, if you want to just touch on that, what your process is?
We're still figuring that out.
Okay.
Will we have a list of contact emails or phone numbers?
Whatever they have on file, we have. So we're gonna be providing the contractor door hangers. We're tentatively shooting for early June, early to mid-June to start. I can't say, your property is the first on the list and yours is the last on the list. But, again, to Nate's point, one box may take a whole day, two boxes may take an hour. I don't know. It depends on how fast these guys.
We'll notify.
Yep.
Work with the community. We'll give you the email and the phone numbers of everyone that's impacted in Gateway Greens.
Perfect. Thank you.
That's good, yeah.
That'd be great.
One is, what if my driveways within that 3 feet?
That should not, I don't see a problem with that. No, that's actually great. Nothing can.
Put out the 3 feet there, but I know.
It's,
My driveway's closer than 3 feet.
Then definitely nothing's gonna grow there. That's
Yeah.
even better.
Oh, I know. I know that. Lines already been changed. Meters to the house.
Yeah. all right, what's the second question?
Second question is, what about the people that aren't, like our community, probably 50 to 70% of people are not there now.
Right.
So how are you gonna handle that?
Well, so we mailed out letters to both the physical address, and then if they're a snowbird and they have another northern address, we mailed out these letters that you received. We mailed it to both. Now, if they're not here, they're not here. I mean, we'll still,
Still needs to get done.
yeah, we'll still, do the door hanger and try to contact, but if they're, we've got to replace the box.
And then when you're
Yeah.
And a lot of you may not even notice it was done. You go off for the day and come back, it's done. There's a door hanger. Okay, you'll.
Yes, ma'am.
this is the final
Yes.
question for
Okay, so with a utility, you don't get assessed on your taxes. A utility is an enterprise fund, so it has to be self-sufficient. So the cost for this, we're applying to the state revolving fund loan, which is a low interest loan from the state. We are trying to incorporate this. We're doing a rate study. Your rates are going to go up. I'm going to tell you right now. Your irrigation rates and your water rates throughout all of Gateway are going to go up with the incurred cost of this project, especially if we go to full deployment. Now, with this pilot project, because we wanted to get it going and get it underway, so that way we can get that 9-month clock ticking. We want to get through all of our seasons in Florida, right? Love bug season, snowbird season, rainy season, hurricane season. We self-funded this. Now, the full deployment cost, we're estimating 15 million for all of Gateway, which is 8,000. Tell me the number, Leslie. 8,700 homes. So that would be 8,700, which that would be through the utility rates,
This has had nothing to do with
taxes.
your non-ad.
No.
Nothing. It's purely the utility.
We know we have quite a few communities in Gateway.
Huh?
Some are relatively new, really, within the last half a dozen years.
Yep.
Are we doing all of them?
So there's what, 2, 3 communities that have the new box?
Yeah.
Has that box? Yeah. So the Sanders? Okay.
Donnie, this for the most part, everything that was in Gateway 9 years ago is impacted by this.
Yeah.
Do we have an estimated, what's it gonna cost to, how much money it's gonna cost us from water and
So we actually, at the next board meeting, so we have Raf Tellis, who is our rate study consultant. We've asked them to plug in the estimated cost for this entire project into our rate study analysis. And so they have projected a 5-year increase and what that would look like. So that agenda will be posted next Thursday. So you can see, I'm gonna tell you right now, there's a rate increase, absolutely. Now, on top of that, Lee County last summer approved an 8% per year rate increase. So we have to eat that because we purchase our water from the county. So we've had to take that into account as well. So the irrigation rates and the potable, because those are the two meters that we're replacing, those rates are gonna go up.
So I understand 15 million.
Correct. It's,
Per house.
I don't have that number right now. So the loan, the SRF loan that we're pursuing is a 20-year loan. We have to repay that debt. It'll be on the utility rates that you pay for your water usage, yes. So anybody who has who the district serves for water rates has to pay that. Now, there are some properties in Pelican Preserve, New Pelican, that are on Gateway Water. So if they get a water bill from us, they will have to pay for that as well. No, it'll be across the entire fund, the entire utility.
There will be some communities where we don't change the full assembly, we just change.
The debt is going to be incurred by the utility, so anybody who pays into the utility will have to pay the debt. One community has these boxes, one.
Community has a specific box.
Not the block, be like part of that.
Where if we switch, we're switching all meters.
You know, now with the company. That's it. The meters we have right now, we want to get rid of. They're nothing but trouble. Should have done it, that's water over the dam. Right now, we're trying to get this corrected, but this will impact everybody that has water and or irrigation service by Gateway. So this is the 5,200 people in Gateway, plus the other maybe 2,000 plus or minus in Pelican Preserve that are on our system.
7,000 bucks.
Everybody will have and be impacted by this.
Yeah.
Everybody.
Yes, yes, ma'am.
How many homes are involved in that?
195, 195.
The asterisks that were replaced.
Okay, okay. About 195, yeah.
So the loan's already approved.
We're applying to SRF in August. They only have, Mhm. So we self-funded the pilot. Yes, yes. The second phase, we're applying for that loan, and we're not gonna even touch, once this pilot gets done, we have to put out the RFP for the actual meters, which again, we've self-funded. The full deployment, we're asking for the financing from SRF, and that's
Pretty cool.
like a one.
Make sure we don't.
Well, we have a
Oh, we're gonna get it.
we have a 9-month clock that we want to have the pilot project sitting out there and seeing what happens. So, we're queuing up everything. In 20 years, you can ask whoever's in my position. Any other questions? Otto, did we answer your question?
Yes, you did. You answered the two I had.
All right, thanks, Otto.
It is hard labor.
So they'll find another avenue to go. They can't go where you're at, where they are now. What do you?
As far as the boxes, when they're in the trees like that, if there's room to move to the side or towards the street, that's where the new box is gonna go. And new piping go from there up to the point where the old box was and reconnect.
So keep in mind, we have to worry about, to Ed's point earlier, where you tie into the main. If we have to find out where that's at, because if we move, we got to worry about both sides coming in. No,
No,
easement does not change regardless of where we put the box.
no, um, see, that is an unfortunate thing about these trees. We can get these out of the roots and in a safe place for the meters and boxes. Your existing plumbing still is running through those roots. And the only way to replace that or to remedy that is to hire a plumber and reroute it around the tree somewhere, but that is not part of this project. That, yes, that's the property owner's responsibility.
If you have to move it east,
Well, no, it's,
or where my problem would start now, if there was an issue, would be here, but if you have to move it here, I have walls.
We're,
that's a gray area because technically where the water leaves the meter, but if you do have a problem in the future, it's not gonna be with the new stuff that was just installed. Right.
Seeing homeowner.
Sorry.
Devonshire.
Huh?
So our frontage between my neighbor and myself, our driveway is not, not acres.
Right, I'm sure I've seen every one of these. I don't know which one it is, but more than likely, yeah, that box is gonna move closer to the street or run piping from. Oh, I believe it.
so we're gonna,
Staff picked these 195, 200 homes for one reason. They are the worst case scenarios. We want to find out what we're up against.
Yeah.
To solve all the other problems that are on case. We got 5,000-6,000 people we have to solve. We're looking at the hard case right now, and yours sounds like maybe one of the ones that we have to deal with.
I just
We've
don't
got-
want a hard case to force me back. Yeah.
We've got to come up with an answer of how we take and put a system that was designed 30, 40 years ago with no prior thinking that trees that are that big are now that big and screwed all this up. So we got to think outside the box of how we make this work for everybody, which means that we may have to move these lines such that we reroute the water coming into your potable, going into your house, and your irrigation going into your irrigation system because of a tree.
so now,
It's part of what
so-
we have to work with.
we're gonna make the connection, okay? But we are not, and we legally cannot go onto private property. So if what, like Nate is saying, if your box is right here and your property line is right here, and our easement stops right here, if we have to move it back, we're gonna make that connection. We're gonna make it happen. Okay? But to Nate's point, if he's digging and he sees that all of these lines are entangled, what's your name? Billie Jean. Nate's gonna say, unless you know, hey, we're making our connection here, but you might want to be aware that your side of these lines is entangled. Which shouldn't be a surprise because we all should know that, but we're gonna make the connection where we've made the move.
Responsible.
Your responsibility stops at the end of at the outside of the box to yours, once it's in, yes. Where the that's how our rules are. So your responsibility now might be 100 feet of pipe. And if we have to move the box 2 feet towards the road, your new responsibility would be 102 feet of pipe, if that's where the output of the box goes. Does that make sense? I'm sure we've got it. You're probably one of the hard ones of what you're saying.
Our problem is to solve the problem, not create a.
Correct.
For us, yeah, that's I need a clear picture of all of this. I know, you have to move forward with
Yep.
all of this, but I don't want to get bored.
I understand. We don't want you either.
What's your start date?
Middle June.
Early to mid-June, the earliest would be the middle of the first
You-
week of June.
you
It
have
could be
an
the second
idea,
week of June.
Timeline on which communities you're gonna start with, because
We're gonna, as he
That's
gets
something-
closer to, we're gonna have a pre-con.
we got three areas. We got Callaway Greens, which where Joe lives, and we have Mahogany Run North, Mahogany Run South, which is where I'm at on this whole community. That probably is what, 2/3 of this entire project. We can provide you with names, phone numbers and all that for all those people.
Yeah.
But we just need to know when. Because Joe hit the nail on the head. A lot of our people that are in our area, and I'm sure in the other areas.
Snowbirds, yeah.
I thought the snowbirds quit leaving a couple of years ago.
Yeah, feels like it.
I'm gonna guess that 40% of it in our community, they're gone.
So one of,
Reach out.
one of the things to keep in, when we send out these notices too, and we'll be glad to get whatever contact communication you guys have, and provide that as long as you're willing to give that information. I know we have, whatever we have as part of the billing software, we have contacts for each property owner, but, we're also communicating with your HOA and asking that, they contact, and share information. We have on our Facebook page, on Facebook, we do posts on there. On our website, we actually have you want to pull it up real quick? On our district website, we have this meter box pilot project, a whole section of it. On the table, you have there were business cards. Part of this pilot project assessment is if there's anything wonky on your side or that you're seeing or any feedback, we want to know, right? We want to be able to assess. I don't expect anything wonky, but you never know.
I'm trying to get. For a 90 unit, 45 building, so at minimum, you're gonna have 90 boxes. So how did you come up with the totals that you came up with? And that's just one of them.
Yeah.
So if you're doing every home in each of these communities.
We're not doing every home.
Every pilot's just a handful.
So
Red color.
So if you see,
But you've got-
correct.
In Devonshire, we are doing the entire.
Three is where Joe lives.
Right.
Got maybe 30 homes,
Okay,
35 homes.
Okay.
These two areas here, you probably have another 80 to 90 homes. So then you just gotta add these two.
okay, but what I'm saying, you give them the number you hollowed out. This is 90 units, it's like 45 buildings, 90 homes just there.
Yeah.
It's
So so your numbers seem a little.
All right, hold on. Let's let Leslie answer.
The number of properties is 195, but the total meters is 300.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you turn around on this back wall is the specifics of all of the properties that are impacted.
Okay, that helps.
Yes.
Guys, not mostly, so our neighborhood, I know some of piping to the house. PVC. Some of the houses are copper. Gonna match whatever is on meter to the house.
We will be on one copper.
I didn't.
We've always had,
So we only have one copper.
My house is the only copper.
It may be.
Everybody agrees?
we need to know where you live. Well, we've been,
Copper coming
You're
here.
you're in Callaway Greens?
Yeah.
I can tell.
And just because there's copper coming out of the ground going into the house does not mean it's copper all the way
Oh,
out.
they repaired it
Okay.
5 years ago.
Okay.
That's what repaired it.
so Austin, are there regulatory issues with copper?
The new lead-free rule.
Yeah, yeah.
But we will be installing PVC. If your existing service is copper, we will adapt from PVC to copper at that point.
Those are brass.
Those are brass. We're running PVC from there up to the connection point to your existing, where we cut your.
I see that as a no fault.
Not really.
So
I mean,
you switch it from PVC to copper.
no, there's several solid ways to do it.
Yeah, so when you come out,
Well,
so when you come out of the meter, you will transition to the existing, whether it's irrigation and or potable, to the piping that matches what the owners have.
we will run PVC from the outlet of the meter. We will run PVC up and then adapt to whatever the existing is at that
Okay,
point.
here's my question, because, and Joe hit this earlier. I'm gonna guess that probably in the combination of all these communities, 35 to 40% of these people are not here.
Right.
So and a lot of these people, when they leave and go up north, they go out, and they simply shut the water and the irrigation off. Especially the potable water. They shut it off.
So I believe they're supposed to call
I'm
in
sorry?
and have that done.
Yeah.
Supposed to call in and have that done so that the district has a record of who's on and who's off.
Don't go by what's supposed to be done. It's a big thing. And then the issue is that what I'm worried about is that once we make the transition and you put in the new meter, whether it be the potable or the irrigation, especially the potable, if they shut it off, how do we activate that to know that everything's hunky dory and hook back up?
Well,
So if
if-
they don't come back in October, November, turn on their faucet and find out. You know, they can say,
Right, well,
how do we do that?
case by case basis, if we can go up and look, if the valve is off, most homes have a valve to shut it off where it goes into the house.
Yes.
I don't like touching those. If it's off, we leave it off. If it's on, we leave it on. If it's off, it's not a problem to activate,
If we
turn this on, pressurize it, and then turn it back off. It's
But
good.
how do we test it?
Well, we'll have to pressurize it
Okay,
one
so
way or another. We're gonna have to.
turn it on.
Yeah, we're gonna have to turn it on.
Leave it the way you found it. when it leaves.
Right, right,
See, some people turn that valve off there
right.
before they leave. I know that I'll turn it off.
Well, a lot of people go to, it's a curb stop right at the house.
Right.
And they shut it off.
But a lot of people wait the meter shut off. They don't even run it to the house.
That's nice. Yeah.
Yeah,
And also.
I prefer it being off at the house.
But the big thing is that just what we want to make sure in each, and we need to tell each of these neighborhood associations,
We have,
we need to know who's here and who's not, so that these people don't come back with supplies.
they've received, those individual property owners have received letters that this is happening. We put our contact information. Again, if there are any hiccups or you have any issues, contact our office. Poor Leslie, she'll be inundated with phone calls, but she'll take them, I promise. Again, you're fortunate, you're part of the pilot, so thank you for having some patience with us. Again, we're looking at this as one of the most challenging, and if we can overcome these 195 parcels, then we know what we have in store for us for the full deployment.
Oh, free, we get these.
I'm not trying to re-engineer, I'm just asking questions. Are you gonna drill holes in this when you
Yeah.
install the other meters?
And
The bond.
in the lid for the antenna, you
Over
mean?
the pipes.
They're notched out.
Okay, going in the bottom there.
Yeah.
That one only has one hole.
They'll sit like that.
The other one only has one, two, not two.
No. There's two on the outlet side, one's the.
Yeah.
We may have to.
We'll have to notch
Yeah.
this.
Yeah, some will have.
Yeah.
to.
Is there gonna be a floor in the bottom?
There's not a floor, but there's gonna be 6 inches of rock put under every block. That's another deficiency with the existing equipment. that we have.
Mine's full of frogs, but.
Oh, Leslie, your favorite. Yes, ma'am. No, ma'am. No. No. So what we're doing right now is we're plugging those numbers into our rate study analysis. Because when we go and apply for the loan, we have to show that we have sufficient revenue to pay back the debt on that. And so we're anticipating that the rate increase to go into effect sometime this year, as long as the Board of Supervisors approves it. Yeah. Yes, we, on top of this project, we have many other capital projects. So the two beautiful roundabouts that we just did, the utility, we took money out of reserves to pay for that project. So part of this is replenishing our reserves in the event, God forbid, knock on wood, anything were to happen, that we have the financing in the bank, the funding in the bank to do or make any necessary repairs. So not only future projects we're looking at replenishing those reserves. So all of this is going, the rate study is going to the board on June 6th. We've actually talked in length about it for probably 2 or 3 months now. We want to make sure all of our I's are dotted and T's are crossed. But with that SRF loan, those are typically low interest loans. And in today's market, they're like 1 point something % with the state. So like Ed said earlier, this is the best path forward. That I will say, being it's state funding, there are a lot of hoops and loops that we have to jump through. That the state requires with our projects and the funding and things like that, but the board decided that's the best path forward. So I will say my experience in my previous role, very successful with grants, but the problem with Gateway is the median household income here is pretty high. And so a lot of grants we can't necessarily get. I don't know that there's many for this type of work.
I think they want to say environmental. Whole environmental.
Yeah,
This maybe we have improvement as far as one.
Yeah.
The killers, maybe have something.
yeah. All the time we're looking. Yes. Yep. Those are my favorite things, grants.
To
Any,
answer your question, the big item we've got right now is handling the debt that we have to incur. That should be a big item.
SRF wants to know,
It's upfront.
Yeah.
SRF, which is State Revolving Fund, won't give us this 2% loan money, which is cheap money to finance this unless we have the rates that are established to pay the back.
I may be speaking out of turn, but I would think with, as these existing meters age, if nothing is done about them, you're gonna be reading less and less accurately, billing for less and less than you're actually sending, and that would lead to rate
Yeah.
hikes as well,
Yeah.
to recoup
Our-
the money
You hit the
somehow.
nail on the head. Our operation and maintenance problems associated with what we have right now are problematic. They're ridiculous. We've got to get out and solve this problem. When we have a system that we bought was reading automatically meter readings, and we have to go out and read them manually. We've accomplished nothing.
well, and you guys know better than anybody, our monthly bill, our bills are every 2 months. So imagine if we were on a monthly bill, what that staffing would entail. We had to hire a third meter reader because of the amount of not only repairs to the existing meters that are out there, but the manual reads that we have to do every 2 months. So again, we're hoping this is a long-term fix. You know, we've thought about all of the different, intricacies of this project. We've went so far as, how can we save money? We've built our own rock pit so that way, we can have the stone on hand and, instead of having labor intensive bringing in rock and things like that. So kudos to your utility staff for really thinking outside the box, because trust me, we want to one and done this just as much as you do.
So you'll notify, you'll try to notify the people who aren't in.
Yes, ma'am.
Yep.
Yep. We will, what we'll do, as Nate is a busy man, thank you for coming tonight, both of you for coming tonight, seriously. Again, we wanted to be able to put names with faces so you could see who's gonna be in your community. What we will be doing in the next couple weeks is having a pre-construction meeting with the contractor, and as we iron down those dates, again, take a look at Facebook on our website. We'll email you if we have email communication. I'm not going to promise that we're going to call you because that's a lot of labor, but make sure that we have your most up-to-date contact information with our utility. And then if your HOA is willing to provide any contact information, we'll ask them of that. Some, like Ed said, with Gateway Greens, we can provide that. Devonshire, I don't know if your CAM is gonna give us that, but just make sure you have the most up-to-date contact information with Leslie. Depends on where you live. Most of the time, it would be on the plat, or so if you look at your deed, it'll reference a plat. Don't quote me on this, most easements are either 10, 15, or 20 feet, depending on where you live. The edge of right of way.
The edge of right of way. So
Which
if you
the
look
right
at
of way-
your- Like typically we're in Gateway Greens, most of our roads are 40 feet. So if you go from the center of the road out 20 feet, that's the right of way. Then the easement is another 10 or 15 feet beyond that.
It depends, every plat, like I said earlier with Lennar, when they platted these, it changed every time. Yes, ma'am.
This probably is simple. To the new valve. Most likely there's gonna be damage. Not that you guys are gonna, but it's gonna be, there's gonna be plumbing underneath. Like that. Okay, they're gonna have that. My question is there a resource, or will you provide plumbers that are legit, that will come out and possibly repair these situations that we may have?
Replace the piping.
beyond.
On the homeowner side beyond.
Mine is like this box is there. I've got the two downs. I have a tree that used to be there about 4 feet from me at the very end of it. And then it goes in between the two houses. Now, I'm not sure which way the pipes actually, where the main goes in. I don't know. I know I have a main shut off on the front of the house,
Right.
but does that pipe go straight down? Or does it go across?
There's no way to know without being the guy that installed it,
Yeah.
what kind of mood he was in that day.
So-
There's no way
So,
to know
to
without
answer-
digging it up.
Answer your first,
Issue is, can you provide plumbers that are legit plumbers that can?
the district, because we're a government, we cannot recommend.
Can he
Pump-
do that?
pump-
Can you?
He is a plumber.
I-
He is a plumber.
I
Now,
would recommend us for that sort of thing, because not too many plumbers like doing that underground. But saying that, we will not take on that kind of work during this project. If we're working for a city or a county or anything like that, we have a contract with them. We do not take on work for the resident. It's
Now-
just a conflict and,
you want to show,
That's really important.
But-
yeah,
So-
no, I can ask around. They're just.
well, let me answer. So,
I mean, you
We-
don't want to deal with best
Well-
plumbing.
so we can't recommend, but Lee County has a contractor list
Oh,
that you can do your homes. Now, I don't know if you're part of the Facebook, the Gateway Community page.
I hate.
A lot of people will post up there and say, hey, recommend a good plumber, recommend a good landscaper. I've seen that post up there a lot. But Lee County has this contractor list and it's sorted by plumbing, so you can see who's certified through them.
How do you miss it?
How did you Google it?
Just Google it.
Just Google Lee County plumbing contractor list.
Yeah. you know, it's the-
For the pilot project,
3 months.
I think I
We already have.
put in there, I was thinking 16 weeks, worst case scenario. Realistically, hoping to make it closer to 10 or 12, 8 to 12.
All right, so any other questions before we wrap this up?
I'd say.
Yes, ma'am.
When they connect to the PVC, when they connect.
After
to
the project, that's what I was thinking, this
When they do
project's done.
anything to See, what happened to me was.
Oh.
put
Gentlemen,
metal On PVC and the PVC cracks. So what they told me, it was 3 plumbers. They told me that there's a connection on the end of the PVC coming from the home that should be metal. So
Right.
you. How do you
It's probably that we were talking about earlier, the female threaded plastic. It's going. Yes, probably looks like that. It could be copper, but yeah, the plastic female that threads over the top of that tends to split. And yes, they make them that have a metal ring around them, so that does not happen.
Okay,
And that's what we will be using. We don't use the plastic they're called female FIPs. If it's if it's plastic going over metal, it has to have that bang.
like I said, it took me 3 plumbers. A lot of
Right.
money.
Well, because I don't want to send the guys back to fix it when it splits.
Down.
Yes, sir.
Question, once you guys get started, what's the, duty to work, the normal work days, if like, from when to when, is it 7 days a week, is it?
It is not 7 days a
No.
week. Absolutely not.
Gotta go fix.
We can put out a schedule of which area
What-
we're in.
We'll do
We'll
our
work on that.
best.
We don't have one yet. We've got the list, but a schedule has not been established.
As soon as we get that, at least for Gateway Greens, which would be Callaway and Miami Run North and
Yeah.
South.
Of course.
We don't get a blast out to our community. I don't know if the other associations, whether you live in, Devonshire, or where else. But we need to get that notice out so that everybody's up to speed of what we're doing and when we're doing it.
And like I said, we'll have that pre-con here in a couple weeks with him so he can get a better idea on his schedule. I'm not gonna say we're gonna be at your house on Wednesday, the 27th of, June.
I was wondering what, he's gonna be starting at 6 o'clock in the
No,
morning.
no, so,
Probably, 7 at the earliest.
So I was trying to get a sense
Yeah.
of his name, recommendations.
Yeah, Monday to Friday, if there's an emergency on the weekend, we gotta come in and fix something we broke, then we're there, but no, Monday to Friday.
Monday through Friday, we're we're bound by the noise ordinance in Lee County, so as early as to 7 a.m. and no holidays. Unless he asks for a holiday.
Trying to get out. You got 300 boxes and they were trying to get attention. That's not happening.
Yeah, he's got it. These guys have got it.
We've done
But this is.
almost identical work at a community in Cape Coral where they planted what are those black olive trees on top of every water meter and most of the sewer cleanouts. And so we gave them a proposal to relocate the meters further away from the trees, reroute them. The city shut us down and said, no, you can't do that. So I said, I'm sorry. I'm not gonna keep coming back and fixing these for you. I gave you a proposal to fix
I
it.
hate what ifs. I hate what ifs, but a what if that concerns me because of the time we're doing this with the CISOs are gone. Is that if an issue comes up, whether you're in Devonshire, you're in Casey Reeds, or in any of the communities, and an issue comes up with an owner or a house that nobody is there. What's our process to try to resolve it?
What kind of problem are you anticipating? Like, we can't get the water reconnected or something?
Gateway will go wrong.
Okay,
I
okay.
guarantee you. So my issue is if you're in front of this house right here and they're gone and you run into a problem that's our vendor. What's the communication we go back to? We need something to be able for you to go to Chelsea and Billy and then go to our neighborhood associations that we can make contact with these people if there is an issue that's imminent that we need to have a problem solved.
And the responsibility of that would be for Nate and his team to relay that back to our utility staff.
And then you guys step it up.
We would try to make contact with that property owner.
So.
And if we're unsuccessful, then we would reach out and see if you guys have a different means of
Okay, so we need to
communication.
Make sure that the HOA teams that are in these other communities are up to speed of what's going on.
Yeah.
We can tell them, but I don't know that they'll listen.
I'm not talking about our community, because I think we are. We had two boards
Yeah.
here. The issue is that some of the other ones, are they cognizant of what's going on? Because this is going to be a significant project.
I can't say if they're cognizant of what's going on, but we've let a horse to water, can't make him
Give me
drink.
their names, I will make them cognizant of what's going on. This is ridiculous. We've got to have them on this team.
I don't disagree.
They've got to be on this team. The
Yep.
presidents of those associations that live in your community and your camps has to be involved in it.
Well, maybe you all can help be a voice. Perfect.
I have a ranger. Also there, we have a ranger. I have.
But if I just don't want something to fester to where you guys run into a problem. Because I'm telling you, you will run into problems with some of these issues because of the trees. That you need to be able to get back and get a question answered. And I know well enough being in your business for many years. Time is a lot of money.
Oh, yeah.
We need an answer to the problems.
You're gonna be the pessimist, I'm gonna be the eternal optimist. Hopefully, knock on wood, we don't have all these issues. We'll plan for
I've
them.
had zero issues with communication
I just want to make sure. we
so
have
far.
full
Everything's
communication
been great.
and
Yeah,
get
yeah.
Everybody else involved so that they have a point of contact on who to call to find out what needs to be done.
And it ain't Ghostbusters, I promise. Yes, ma'am.
Is there someone we could call around the 1st of June just to see if they have a schedule on when?
You'll get contact. I'll make a promise to you this, that we will have some type of communication out to you. We have all of their contacts, their email addresses for the most part.
If they have an email.
As long as you have an email address on file with us, I will make it a point and a promise to get some communication out early June. I'm not gonna say June 1st because we have to find out with Nate and his team, but I promise you will have communication out before they come out. I will make that promise. Okay. Any other questions? Yes.
Wanted to touch on the master meters for.
Is anybody from Royal Greens here? Are you the president?
Yes, I am.
We need to have a conversation. I'm not gonna confuse the rest of these folks with our conversation, but if you've got 20 minutes to stay,
Yeah.
we definitely gotta talk.
What we've got two issues. You got master irrigation and master potable.
Correct. correct.
Both.
Oh,
Yeah.
hence the.
We gotta, that's what we have to have a separate conversation with you, so. All right, is there,
You guys are special.
they are special. Everybody's special. If you're in this room, you're special. You're part of the pilot. All right, so again, I'm gonna wrap up. Make sure you have our card. Open communication, call us, email us if you have any issues. Thank you for coming in tonight.